Hey everybody, it is July 24th, 2007. I'm Sonic Suns. I want to do a quick comment on the CNN-YouTube debates I just had a couple days ago, it was now. By the way, I haven't made a video in 6 days. I'm so sorry about that. These things happen. So I like the idea of, random people posing their questions, and I liked how people asked things that you wouldn't normally expect. Even that one guy was like, alright, say something nice about the candidate on your left. That was, a little interesting. Not exactly very informative question, but, nice to hear something offbeat on that. Nice to hear from people who've specifically, dealt with certain problems. Like, gay people making a video about gay marriage. And you're like, okay, I can see the human face on this. What are we going to say to these people who are actually part of the issue? At the same time, there was a lot of, politicians talking like politicians. Reframing every question to fit the talking point. Just answer the questions, people. I don't know. There's dozens of examples of this. We'd be along the lines of, what do you think about healthcare? And it's like, well, I believe that healthcare is a very important issue. And we need to bring the troops out of Iraq. We need to end the war. And it's like, yay! It's like, okay, I want to bring the troops home too, but I thought the question was about healthcare. I thought it was, even like, say, Obama, right? Now, I like Obama. I've liked him ever since I heard of him, pretty much. But, it turns out he's not perfect either. There's a question they posed, this is actually posed to Gravel, right? And I disagree with Gravel on several of his policy points. Which is sad because there's one thing I very much do agree, and that's the fact that he speaks his mind. As far as I can tell anyway. He says stuff, and he means what he says. So it's a very nice quality to have. So he made a quote that, the people, the soldiers in Vietnam had died in vain, right? And furthermore, that the soldiers in Iraq were dying in vain. Now, I happen to think this is true, right? Because, come on, particularly in the case of Vietnam, because we have 30 years of hindsight to make sure what is in vain and what is not. 50,000 of our soldiers died. For what purpose? Well, to stop North Vietnam from conquering South Vietnam. Okay. So after 50,000 of our soldiers died, what happened? North Vietnam conquered South Vietnam. So basically we just delayed that. And in the process of delaying it, Vietnam went through the chaos of war, so I'm not even sure they're so happy about that delay. So yeah, we wasted 50,000 people. That's a painful thing. I think we're doing the same thing in Iraq. I think we're not making progress. We're trying to maintain a nice, stable, democratic nation, and granted, we have ousted the dictator and come up with a new democratic government, and they have a constitution. That's nice. But a government means nothing without actual power. Like anyone in the world could just stand up and say, I am Emperor of the United States. As a matter of fact, one guy did. But, that one guy didn't have any power of the United States. And these guys, they officially have power. Dang, there's so much chaos in the region. So much sectarian violence. That we haven't really achieved a nice stability yet. We haven't, it's not really working, and I don't think it's going to work in the immediate future anyway. So I'm not talking about specifically how I feel about people dying in vain. But anyways, Mike Gravel made this statement, right? And this guy on YouTube challenges him on it. Says, do you really mean that? He says, yes, I really mean that. It's nice. And then they ask Obama, do you think the troops died in vain? And yes, actually, he does think that. It'd be one thing if he didn't think it, right? One thing if he thought this war was going well. It's not going well. It's been a horrible disaster, right? He said this in many different ways, many different times. That we've been failed by the civilian leadership. But Obama, being a politician, doesn't want to say the really, really painful thing of, yeah, they died in vain. No one wants to hear that. It's too hard, People would irrationally accuse Obama of hating the troops or something, which is, of course, absurd. You're just shooting the messenger here, right? But being a politician, he's like, no, I think The servicemen and women have done everything requested of them. They've performed admirably. Well, yes, we all know they performed admirably. In other news, they died in vain, right? And he was like, I think the civilian leadership has failed them. Yes, we know the civilian leadership has failed them. In other news, I think they died in vain. I think you think that, Mr. Obama. But you don't want to come out and say it, you know. And with a dozen other things. Every politician, right? Resorting to platitudes at a certain point, and just, you know, like, what do you think about, I don't know, any issue at all? Immigration, what do you think? I think we need a bipartisan plan to deal with immigration. It's like, well, yeah, I guess having a bipartisan plan would be much better than a partisan plan, but, you want to give us some specifics on that plan? Or are you just going to resort to platitudes? Which people do all too often. But oh well, you know, the debate's still worth watching. And thank you for watching. See you later.